Hey there, Russell Traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the recap for June 7th, 2013. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market and see what's going through my head on any given trading day. Always please make sure that you have a solid trading plan and never move your stop when placing a trade. I took 3 trades this morning on a live trading video I've uploaded to YouTube, so please make sure you check out my YouTube channel and go into detail as to why I took the first 3 trades of the day. And the 4th trade of the day I did not take. It was within the last 15 minutes. A good setup, but something that I don't like to usually do, especially on a Friday. You can catch the details of the setup on my blog at TradingFibs.com. with additional charts and descriptions. Looking at our 4 major indices, you can see that the YM and the NQ had the best performance of the day. So best of show, nice pop above 25-minute open range and really never looked back. The ES was hugging the 25-minute open range at one point. It came down to rest there. Actually, I should say the Russell was hugging the top of the range, really had a hard time struggling to pop up above it. The E-mini on the ES came down once, found support, and popped up in the last trading hour, so hour and a half. Looking at the market internals for the day, pretty much in the green all around. Ticks, a couple ticks underneath the zero line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about just a handful. And our AD line was nice and strong and green today, and really never looked back. And our market breadth was for a little bit 1-1, but pretty much stayed 2-1 on the ratio, and like most of the week, popped within the last 15 minutes to half hour. Looking at our 6 charts today, what were the lines of defense? Well, on our daily SR lines with daily gap and pivot down below here at 973.9, a little bit of up movement at the open, coming back down to close the daily gap and set our 25-minute open range high. Really just hugging this. I'm sorry, this is not my open range. This is my R1 line. I'll talk about the open range in a minute, but coming up to a line of resistance here at R1 and really never finding any impulse to move above it with any force. Coming back down underneath R1, tapping up about a couple times, and then at the end of the trading session, popping above for a nice little profit, and then selling off after the cash close. The 1-hour open range at a high of 987.2 and a low of 977 gave a nice little push up to close up at the 1-hour open range at the bottom of the hours. 1 hour. This was 1 hour 15 minutes. And finding a line of support here at R1 as well on the 1-hour open range, eventually coming all the way down to the pivot line, finding support. So I tend to use my 1-hour open range in synchronous with my 25-minute open range and seeing if price does come back down within the range. Is there any lines of support resistance down there? And obviously today there it was, right at the 1-hour open range pivot. And our last support and pivot lines, our Camarilla pivots, price action drove up to H3. Really never found any action above that. Really hugged the line today. So Cam H3, our 1-hour open range high, and the pivot action chop up in between, and the daily SNR standard lines off of Thinkorswim platform here. Daily gap down below, really chopping it up in between that gap. So looking at the 25-minute open range for the day, the weekly pivot was actually the high of the day here. 988.5 was my high target if any price action were to move out of the 25-minute open range. It had 3 trades in the morning session. So my first trade was above here at 40 minutes past the open. My second trade at about 1 hour past the open, and the third trade waiting to break above the R1 line here for a tap up to the weekly pivot was my third trade of the day. Anything else other than that was really just sideways action. Had a nice price action drop here. Again, 980.5 around the 1 hour open range pivot line. And then really the last trade of the day, chopping it up here sideways. Again, this is the last 15 minutes. Something I'm not going to take a trade in, especially on a Friday. But at any other time of day, maybe any other day of the week, I probably would have entered here. This is nice momentum above. I would look for the 534 EMA crossover, which I'll show you next. As long as I had the EMA crossover and I had market internals all in the green, I would take the trade. This was the bar I would have entered on and then taken my first target off at the weekly pivot. Looking at the Heikin Ashi lines, 534 EMA crossed really at the first half hour. Well, you actually had a little bit of a sell-off here at the opening of the market, and followed by a crossover here in the middle of the open range. My first trade over here, again at 40 minutes past the open session for a little bit of a what is this? We had about 10, 15, 20 ticks here, not counting, but, and placed my stop at break even, was taken out. Price action broke up above again on the Heikin Ashi. EMA never crossed over, and then tapped up to the 1 hour open range. That was my target. Sideways chop, runner taken out, and then the opportunity came for an entry here again, but I wanted to wait until we broke R1, the daily R1, and drove it up to the weekly pivot up here. That was at 988.6, and price came all the way back down. So really just price action just chopped here between the 1 hour open range and the 25-minute open range for the remainder of the day. And the last trade, which would have had a nice EMA crossover over here. Again, a lot of Fibonacci targets that were set today on each and every move. I will post those charts in my blog at tradingfibs.com. But again, the last entry of the day right here on the setup. You got sideways action here at the 25-minute open range. You already have the EMA crossover. Have nice solid bodies. Again, I would have looked for a breakout above R1. Again, did a nice job. Could have rode it all the way up to the weekly pivot. This was weekly pivot number 2. Tap here, and then the sell-off with the remainder of the after the cash close. That concludes today's wrap. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com to see additional references and charts, or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My mantra of know one thing, know it well, rings true for all markets. So whether you trade the ES, the Apple, YM, today we looked at a chart on SCO. Nice entry below the 25-minute open range. On the ultra short, had a very nice profit. My plan will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at Trading Fibs. And as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful Blue Zone day, and I will see you next week.